Hello everyone, we're at Pocket Gamer Connects London 2024. I'm Dylan from HyprChats. I'm joined by Simon from Space Ape. Simon, welcome.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Yeah. Cool, well as founder of Space Ape, why don't you talk us through your career in gaming up to this point?
Sure. How far back do you want me to go?
As far back as you want.
Oh my God. So I grew up as a kid playing games and making games. Like my mum was a computer programmer. We had we were bleeding edge in the 80s and early 90s, right? So I went through university as a hardcore gamer, and then at some point in the turn of the millennium, it never occurred to me that there could be a career in gaming, right? So I went and became a lawyer, right? So I had at the 2000s I didn't touch games, so I missed the whole MMO, PC, I missed that whole decade. And towards the end, 2008, 2009, the mobile was coming in. I was working for a company that was very successful, but not taking mobile seriously. It's mobile's the future, right? And so I started to think about how can I get into a mobile business, and I was playing Angry Birds and Fruit Ninja on my iTouch or whatever. And so that took me into a company called Playfish, which was a Facebook gaming company. Playfish and Zynga were kind of number one, number two at various stages, and Zynga went off, stayed independent, and Playfish sold to EA. So I came in at that point, but I wasn't really in games. I was in back office tech. So my co-founder John, he was the GM of the game studio, so all the creative and game dev people, and I was the product guy for back-end services. So it was I was in gaming, but kind of related. And then a couple of years later, a bunch of us left and started Space Ape. So that was Space Ape was my first real gaming job, but I was in a games company before that, doing non-gaming stuff.
Quite the diverse history, and I think that's the theme with everyone in gaming. It's no one really knows that there's a career there until you fully get immersed.
Well, they do now. Now it's there's degrees and everything, but it's still pretty obscure. I gave a talk at my I won't say which school, but a school, a careers talk. I went in and there were two other parents or people doing that. One was a dentist and one was a lawyer or something. I felt so sorry for them. It's going talking to a bunch of kids about career opportunities. Is do you want to move? So and the dentist and the lawyer services the rooms are packed because people understand that category. And I had a few people, but it's still not a mainstream sort of career option that's even discussed for kids. It's even though they're all gaming all the time, it's
Totally.
It's still a weird, almost niche career.
Yeah, well, glad to have you as an ambassador, really promoting and pushing the agenda. No, perfect, but getting back on track, I know that you were part of the origin story at Space Ape, and over the last few years especially, tremendous growth with your, big hits, Chrome Valley Customs, on your t-shirt, as well as, BeatStar, titles like that, So maybe you could just walk us through a day in your life. What are you focused on the day-to-day to help improve the business?
Oh man, my day-to-day is so hard to pin down because it's so different. Just over the past 12 months, our business has changed so much, right? So the start of the year, we were going through this massive transition. We'd gone from like the rest of the industry, from a top-line revenue focused sort of set of objectives to a profit-focused set of objectives. We killed a big game. So there's a transitioning period. And then as Chrome Valley and Country Star, we had two games launching within 6 weeks of each other. We're coming up. I was spending a lot of time on the marketing of those games and that sort of thing. But day to day, it's so hard to pin down because I'm so project based. So I'll do the thing that's most important. Right now, it's coming out and talking to people because we're back on the board and we're hiring again and we're that kind of thing. So that's kind of my day to day now. But 3 months ago, it was neck deep in UA creative and analytics and looking at all of that. So
yeah, can only imagine.
Very diverse.
Yeah, for sure. And you alluded to it. 2023, definitely a challenging year, especially for you guys as well. You mentioned sort of the shift in strategy. What was your take overall in 2023? How was Space Ape affected by it? And, what were some challenges you saw that, I hope you overcame?
Well, yeah, it was tough because we're launching a game, so we're growing. So we're twice as big today as we were a year ago off the back of Chrome Valley. So for us, 2023 was actually like a growth year. We went from about 110 to 150 people. We launched some games, so that was good. But like it's against this backdrop of like a really tough. Everything is harder, especially launching new games, especially launching new IP. So we weren't certainly not immune to it, but like launching games was our 23, and then 24 is going to be sort of growing those ones. Like we probably won't do another global launch this year. It'll be about like growing Chrome Valley and growing the music games and starting work on the next one.
Got it. Okay, that's good to hear. And I know that there's always been this long-term relationship with Supercell. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that. How did it come about? And, how has it been over the last few years? Are there sharing of insights? Like, what does that sort of peek under the hood look like?
Yeah, sure. So the catalyst for us to join up with them was like we had gone through 5 years of grinding it out, making essentially the same game over and over again. Like we made 3 strategy games, each one was better than the last, but we reached this point where we felt like we could continue to do this and specialize in the genre and grow them, but it probably wouldn't get us to the level of ambition that we want as a studio. Like we're not really interested in sort of making a business. We want to like entertain millions of people and have games that everyone talks about. And so our theory was we needed to get in new categories, right? And that's incredibly hard to do whilst sort of like, we just developed this specialty in one genre and we wanted to innovate and be creative, and that's really hard to balance. So the catalyst for joining up with Supercell was like to build enough buffer and runway so that we could take those kind of chances. And so we joined up with them in 2017, and that was the thesis, right? They were like, we were proud of our games, but they were more like a proof point that we could do interesting stuff. In the next 4 years, we just went like probably we were way too defocused actually, like going all these different genres and just having them as the buffer, with financial security and also inspiration and setting the benchmark for what like success looked like. That allowed us to sort of like try all these different things, and out of that sort of messy 4 years came BeatStar, which is a new category for us, a new genre, and then a year later was Chrome Valley. So it was like a lot of comfort and runway while we did creative, risky things. And then these days, the sort of investment sort of portfolio there is much more structured. When we joined, I think we were by far the biggest and first sort of meaningful investment they'd done. Now there's a bunch, and so there's a bunch of support services, a lot of sharing, especially on data and analytics and design best practices, and we had people from Supercell second into our studio, and people go, so it's very organic, but we operate independently. So like we're expected to be profitable in our own right, to be self-sufficient, and sort of treat them as kind of like booster packs. Yes, so it's a nice sort of balance. It's unusual. It's not arm's length. It's not integrated. It's sort of somewhere in between. It kind of works.
Appreciate those insights. And I guess more of a fun question as well. Like, do you have a favorite title under the Space Ape portfolio over the years?
I like all of them. Like, it's hard to pick, but like I think at the moment I'm just playing a lot of Chrome Valley. But yeah, it's hard. Like I go hard on all of our games when they launch. So yeah, I think probably B-Star is the one I spent the most time on. Totally. But yeah, I'm end of content on Chrome Valley right now, just waiting for the next update.
We'll have the team work hard on it. And last question here, you alluded to it earlier, 2024. What can we expect from you guys in the year to come?
Well, yeah, so I mentioned we went through this like very almost defocused period where we were looking at different genres and not a lot of sort of like consistency on the slate. We've now kind of come through that, and we're very focused on sort of like specializing in things that we're already good at, right? And so if you'd asked me 2 years ago, if I'd presented the pitch for Chrome Valley 2 years ago, we're going to get into puzzle, it would have sounded like lunacy. Like it's a very competitive genre. But now we're there. We've got a state of the art, like really good solid engine. We've got a deep understanding. We've got 75 people of our 150 studio dedicated to it. We're going to be doubling down on that. So building on those learnings and really mastering the casual puzzle genre. That's going to be our focus for the rest of the year.
Amazing. Well, definitely looking forward to it. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat with us. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.